We are already recording.
Welcome to Business Mastery Blueprint. Radical changes are coming. Do you have radical solutions? Henry Whitlow and I have been doing consulting for over 20 years together. Henry's done 35, I've done 40. I want to give you today best practices of what the best companies are doing, how they're doing it, and thriving in this new COVID-19 business reality. Okay, radical changes call for radical solutions. Right now, it calls for a new type of leader, a new level of teamwork, and you having a game plan. 3 questions I want you to consider. Hear me on this. This is important, okay? Are you adapting to this new business reality? Have you got new solutions that you're bringing? And most importantly, are you effective? Are you delivering what people really want? Do you know what your customers' pain, what their needs are? So they have pain and frustration, they have concerns. Do you know what they want? And do you have those practical solutions? Today, we're going to give you a 5-step process by which you can build and have an answer to those key questions. So as we're moving forward on the slides, which right now are not working, okay, there we go, it's a little slow. Okay, so a couple of kickoff questions, okay? Are you and your team prepared for this new business reality? Okay, right now, I want to interact with you guys a bunch, okay? We have people from Washington, D.C., Tampa, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, California, Los Angeles, okay, Denver, okay, people all over the country. Oh, and some friends from Northern Virginia and Boston, okay. Questions for you. I want you to interact with this question. Are you and your team prepared for the new business reality? Now, rate that right now, if you would. Just want you to take some notes if you're a note taker, okay. 1 to 10, how ready are you? How prepared are you? Do you have clarity? Do you have a business action plan to maximize the new opportunities? Okay. Okay. A couple of clients are here. Nick, welcome. Really glad you're here. Jimmy, I'm glad you're here. Paul Daugherty is in the house. I'm glad that you're here. Paul is the former president of NAIFA National. How clear are you on what you're going to do to maximize the new opportunities? Okay. And most of all, do you have a new and clear business game plan for 2021 that you can share, that you can align your teams on? Henry.
Thanks, Tom. As Tom was pointing out, we've done webinars on the trends that COVID has accelerated and has created this new business reality, this COVID reality. And that's impacting a lot of different industries, from construction and how the way they job costs, the way they do building and construction costs. Then we have insurance business and how their risks have changed and how they assess the risks and mitigate those risks. All of the professional services have had an impact, whether it's legal or accounting firms. All of these businesses have been impacted by this new reality. And many of you, whether you're in manufacturing or retail or whatever, have been impacted. So the question is, do you have a blueprint or a track to follow so everybody can stand around and look at it and see that you are ready for this new reality?
Henry, let me ask a question, okay? A blueprint helps you to build a house and gives you clarity, but what's a business blueprint? Help me for a second. What's a business blueprint and what's it do?
Okay, so just like in building a house, a blueprint, if you can imagine people standing around a table looking at a blueprint, they're seeing clearly what to do. It creates a focal point for you to discuss and make decisions. everybody around the table can see themselves. They say, oh, I'm a drywall guy. I can see where that is. I'm a plumbing person. I can see where that is. Well, the same thing is true for your teams. The people know when they can see this common detailed plan that has everybody's roles laid out, and it creates a visual of the result that you want. And then you can instantly align your teams around that, and everybody knows what their roles and expectations are. But that requires a new kind of leader. That requires a person who is differently looking at it.
So hear me for a second, y'all. I love when people do a presentation, but they give you the whole thing in a visual, because I'm kind of simple. I need a real simple visual. So here's summarizing our program and how do you build this blueprint for 2021. Okay, and that would work with you if you're in retail and you're dealing with challenges with traffic flow and the brand and bricks and mortar versus online, or if you're in construction in general and you've got job costs, you've got bidding challenges, you've got project deadlines, you've got those challenges, or technology. Is it your technology user friendly? What's your scale? But what's your value proposition? So very first thing is you're going to set customer and business outcomes. Are you crystal clear about what you're going to do and deliver for your customers? Okay, what are your objectives with your team? Are you clear? So think about this right now as we're looking into the future for 2021. How clear are you, 1 to 10, when setting customer and business outcomes? Okay, clarify your value proposition. Okay, we throw this word around a lot, but hear me. What are you bringing to the table that people would say, that is amazing, that really adds value, that really makes a difference? So that's the same if you're in real estate, if you're a mortgage broker, if you're an attorney. What are you bringing that people say, that is really great, tell me more? Because if you don't have value proposition, it's like you're not relevant to meeting their needs. Next issue is, okay, so I've got a value proposition. We need to design the systems to deliver that consistently. Then we're looking at, okay, business action plan. Now you've got teams building the systems, looking at how you're going to deliver this with velocity and effectiveness. Next, we're looking at how do we implement this and how do we do this ongoingly to be building your blueprint and executing it elegantly and practically. So Henry, you mentioned that we need a new kind of leader, a unique kind of leader.
That's right, Tom. Because when you have a leader who is mission and vision driven, and if you notice on that last slide where you had everything was centered around extraordinary customer experience. Customers are being challenged in ways that they haven't been challenged before. Your customers, the demand for your services hasn't changed, but the world in which that service is going to be delivered has changed. So you got to keep focused on your mission and the vision for driving that experience. And that takes a person who's going to be serving their customers and serving their staff. And the degree of humility and wisdom needed to do that is extraordinary. You really have to know that you don't know everything. The reason you need teams is because you don't know everything and they don't know everything, but together you can figure it out and learn from your mistakes.
Quick comment. I want to share a story. There's a client that I work with in Northern Virginia, okay, and they're thriving. These are the practices that people are using as being a better leader and thriving, and they're printing money. This person, we started in working with them, and we started really clearly with, okay, what's your vision and mission? Where are we going? How do you need to be a better leader? Okay, and I'm not going to mention names, but they're kind of a smartass. Can anybody relate to that? Well, I've been doing this for a long time. The best leaders are like, okay, let's reinvent this next level for our vision and mission. Okay, how can I serve well? So we went through that. We looked at building their teams, but their teams actively involved working with them, asking questions, looking at the systems. Okay, and this year they're having their best year ever. Okay, and in the midst of COVID-19, starting in March, they've been thriving. They're going to win the biggest awards. and the scorecard bonus and the things that they're doing. So I want you to be thinking, am I a know-it-all, or am I really open to input? And ask your people, get their feedback. Am I a serving leader? What do I need to do to listen better, to serve you better, to empower you better? So, Henry, well, okay, so if we need a different leader, now we're going to walk through the blueprint, but what's the process? What is the process? Help me. I need a process. I don't know about y'all. I need nice, easy steps. What are the steps? Guide me.
That's what I want to take everybody through, because this webinar is intended to make you aware that there is a process for success. It's not, success doesn't just happen. All the results you get come from the processes that you do. And so what we want to give you are the processes to transform your business from the way you did it before to the way you now need to do it in this new environment. The first step, of course, is to set your customer and business outcomes. What are the goals? If you don't know where you're going, then any route will get you there. So you have to really work with your team to set realistic goals for both your customer and for your business. Now, with those goals in mind, particularly the customer goals, the demand for your services isn't going away. So you have to clarify your value proposition and how it's now changed based on what's changed for the customer. So you have to still do what they want, but you can't do it the way you used to. Something you did in person, you have to do virtually now. Some things your customers did in person, they have to do virtually now. So you want to clarify your value proposition in this new world. That means designing your system and delivering where your strengths are.
I'm not sure how to do it without screwing it up.
You can deliver on your value proposition. So those are the steps.
You ask her.
Set the goals, clarify your value proposition, identify how you need to change operations, put those together in a plan, and then implement it over time. 5 simple steps that are not so easy, but they're clear.
Clarity leads to power. Okay, let's look at the first step. Okay, we're looking at setting customer and business objectives and outcomes. Okay, you want to, okay, so picture the bullets on the left are your business outcomes. Okay, actually got it backwards. Okay, on the left are the customer outcomes. You want to study and know what's their world, what's their pain. What are their pain? Another word for that. Okay, and I want you to play with this just on your notes on the side. What if you're looking at a client, customer, that a segment, each niche, they have different pain and problems. Okay, what are the trends that are impacting what's happening to them? What do they really want? Okay, do you have new offerings? So you've got their pain, you know what they want. Now in your messaging and how you deliver it, you have new offerings, okay? You have new products, new services, then you're setting up the systems to make that happen. Does that make sense? I want you to think through right now, what's a segment, what's a niche that you're working with, okay? If you're in financial service or you're an attorney, what's your ideal client that you want to go deeper with? Their pain, their wants, desires, okay? Sometimes I use the word, I need. I'm really, I have a challenge with this. I really need. Well, a lot of times we don't listen. Could anybody relate to that? Okay. The next thing is we'll build the systems with your teams. So on the right, we're looking at, okay, with your business, we're looking at, this is a well-run business with systems. So what are your revenue projections based on your different customer segments, niches? Okay, what's it cost you to deliver that? Okay, especially sales and marketing. How many of you need to do better in your sales and marketing? Okay, what are the systems, processes by which you're generating new leads and finding right fit clients? And then we're looking at clearly, okay, so what are my profit projections? If I make these kind of sales with this kind of marketing, what kind of sales are we going to hit, and then what kind of marketing can we do. So if that's step one, getting focused on what the customer needs, what we're going to do to deliver clear objectives with a team, not by yourself, but with the team. Henry, what's the second step?
That is so important what you focused on, because if you do that first step with the people in your accountability circle, people in your world who know the answers, in our class, you can bring them together and they can actually start to document these things so that you have those memorialized. So we're going to do this. We're telling you about it now in the webinar, but at the end, you'll be able to bring them to a course, a 2-day course, where they can bring all this data to the class, and we will help you document and memorialize these things so that when you get to step 2, which is looking at your upgrades that you have to do, you have to say, okay, what are my offerings that really address the things we identified in the forecast? What do we do to be more effective by market segment or market niche? Sometimes you have group A customers, my group B customers, my group C customers. Each of those segments has a different specific thing that you need to do to address their needs, their pains, and the gains that they want to achieve. That's so in step 2, we build that thing by upgrading your value proposition, adjusting to the new business reality. So we take and look and say, what does each segment need? How do we need to adapt our systems? How do we implement that so we can become relevant? It's all centered around that extraordinary customer experience. We're asking that question all the time.
So Henry, let me share a quick story. Excuse me for interrupting. So I've got a client. His numbers were off with COVID because people were stuck. How many can relate to, I got clients, they're stuck, they're uncertain, they're a little tentative, they're not sure, or you're not sure what to present. So we sat down and we looked at very much this slide, and it said, okay, what's your value proposition? What are we going to do? Okay. And he said to me, forget value proposition. I need to have something that really makes a difference. I need a new product and service that will meet their needs based on where they are. And I said, absolutely. So we looked at what's the niche, what's the person, what do they really want, what are their concerns, so you could talk past that. So you're attracting them, and he was able to pick a new product that would really make a difference for them and begin selling it in a way where he's speaking to them. If you're not speaking, okay, the neuroscience of what's happening with clients, you need to incorporate that. So we looked at how do you message it in such a way they're like, yeah, tell me more. As we did that, he's made new sales. He's on track. He was off track for his goals for 2020. Now he's on track and on pace to make that happen. Henry, okay, so step number 3. How do we design these systems? How do we do that? The SOAR analysis, what's that?
The first step in the SOAR is to look at your strengths. Those are internal factors that you've been relying on that make you have a competitive advantage. Those strengths are going to be very, very important that you recognize and leverage those. In a normal SWOT analysis, you would have now strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Well, we see weaknesses, opportunities, and threats as all opportunities. So these are the external factors that are coming at you that have been impacted by COVID. And instead of them being threats, let's turn them all into opportunities. So our strengths are an opportunity to go forward. Our weaknesses, if addressed, are an opportunity to go forward. Once we have identified those factors that we have control over and those factors that are coming in on us, we can use our team to brainstorm on how do I turn a weakness into a strength? How do I turn a threat into a strength? Because it's all open now.
Can I interrupt with a question? So if I'm looking at this, I'm trying to build systems that deliver my proposition based on what we're good at, what we're not so good at, so you really want to do this with teams. Is that accurate? Like you're
Absolutely.
doing this with teams?
Because your team, a system is made up of your people, your technology, and your processes. people,
Mm-hmm.
technology, and processes. As they weave together, you might have to mix it up a little bit. So this is, in step 3 is where you identify what about your systems and the way it's designed needs to change. And that's what the SOAR is all about. I have these aspirations that came out of my step 1 and 2, and I know what kind of results I want coming out of 2 when I said what my business results are going to be. You mix those together. Systems are people, technology, and process. How can I remix them to get the results I want? This is the design phase. The design is step 3. Now, once you get the design, now you put your team to work to build it. So step 4 is about actually doing an action plan that you can use your teams to upgrade your systems.
Okay, so let me do an interaction question with them. Okay, so you're hearing we're at step 3. I want you to reflect on, if you were building, who would the people, write down, or I take a lot of notes. I don't know about y'all, but who are the people that you'd want on your team? I want you to write that down or think about it. Or if you're younger than me, which is pretty much everybody, write in your tablet, who are the people that you'd want to be on your team to explore this? And how do you get them to help you look at, okay, this is our business game plan to go to the next level. Who are those people? Now, you might also think about some external people that aren't part of your company, but they're stakeholders or they're centers of influence. Who are those people? Which kind of takes us to the next slide.
Exactly, Tom. Exactly. So to actually get the group to do the work, to your team to upgrade your system, you have to have an honest self-assessment. You have to be honest and humble about where you are and what you're capable of doing. So you start everything with honest self-assessment, and we can help you do that with self-assessment tools that don't take forever. It's just a quick snapshot so you know where you are. Then how do we get to where we want? That's the design from step 3. How do we get there? Upgrade your systems, right? Now, what Tom was alluding to, what he wanted to write it down is, you're not going to be able to grow your business without aligned teams and work effort, aligned teams and aligned work for results. That means you need to look at your core support team. That could be the people who you're paying or who you rely upon for core support. Then you have your power team. Those are professionals like yourself or outside your organization who are, you're really dependent upon them. Then you need to have somebody to act as an executive committee. It could be you, your second in command, or it could be a third person who is really rooting for your success, and they're a trusted advisor, and they can be around and they care about you and your business. And then you have various functional teams. Some people doing the accounting, some people doing the legal, some people doing the sales, some people like your digital marketing team. So you have various functional teams. It's not just that you need people involved, you need them organized to do different things. So to build your action plan, you need to say, okay, who's my core support team? Who's my expanded power team to really give me the juice? Who's going to help me govern this thing and tell me if I made a good decision or a bad decision? And then how do I get this expanded virtual functional team to execute all these new systems that I just came up with?
Well, let's pull something from one other webinars, okay? If you're doing this and you have a professional power team, okay? I've written a book called Building Your Social Champions, Building Business Friends and Profits for Life, okay? I'm going to offer you that as a gift. I want you to take the survey we're going to give at the end, but what we're asking you to do is you do the survey. I'll send you a copy of my book on how to build your social champions. Okay, Henry, one of the things that we covered in a previous, and so I want to give you best practice right now, okay? Think for a second, who are some of your best clients or professionals that you want to grow that relationship with? So your professional power teams could be you, could be attorney, CPA, somebody in the industry that you like, you trust, and you want to grow. So you're inviting them to look at how do we grow our relationship to the next level. I want you to be a center of influence. I want you and I to work together so that we have an extraordinary 2021. So for just a second, think of, I want you to write this down or type, who are people that you'd want to build your professional power teams that could help you grow your business, but you're going to help them grow their business. You might even invite them to, listen to this program with you, because we're going to make this program available to you afterwards. So pick who are 5 people that you'd like to own your professional power team. And they could be anywhere in the world now because we're doing everything virtually. Yes? Okay. Henry, marketing teams, support teams. So with this, we're really looking at, here's my business action plan to have my teams help me build systems to really deliver the value proposition. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. And don't forget the measurements, because we said in the first step was identify the goals that you want. It's very, very important to keep those goals for your customers and the goals for your organization in mind as you set up your teams. Because you upgrade your systems, you have to know how to track if you're if you're getting the changes that you want, and if those changes are producing the results that you want. So it's important to keep that you have realistic measurements. So you take the goals that you want and translate them into measurements based on 30, 60, 90 days, then by quarter for the whole year. You want to be tracking the whole year whether or not the changes you're making are getting the results you're seeking for your customer and for yourself.
So the magic word is results. And I know that because I got a system and a key behavior, and I'm measuring and seeing how effective I am. So with marketing, I might do a virtual client event, okay? And I'm tracking on what are the results that I got with that, but I've got to measure not just sort of how I feel.
Exactly. And having an event doesn't mean that it worked. But if you don't track the measurements, then you'll say, okay, what was I supposed to yield out of that market event? Was I supposed to get some follow-up meetings? Was I supposed to get some direct sales? Each thing that you spend your team doing is intended to produce an outcome. And those outcomes together conspire to grow your business. And it does not take long, because the measurements provide the feedback to the teams, and that gets them going. It's like a team that's winning a game. They get hits, and they get on the base, and they get home, and the scoreboard changes, and they get it. This works. And so that's what you're trying to do for your virtual teams. You're trying to have them with a clear game plan that they can follow, and the sooner in the first quarter you can get them to seeing results, even if it's an activity that's supposed to lead to something. If you can keep them focused on the measures, you're going to get the results. What gets measured gets managed.
Good. So let me give them a best practice. Okay, this is a firm up in Boston that we're working with. Okay, the financial service firm. Okay, in the midst when COVID started, they're like, whoa. Okay, we've got an opportunity to grow. They didn't get in fear, so they said, okay, we're going to set up virtual town halls where we can talk to our people. They can ask questions, and we're going to share with them, here's how we're going to create extraordinary customer service. So they set up appointments with their best clients to talk to them about where are they and how they can support them. Then they looked at how can we dialogue, and then they began to set up virtual meetings by Zoom. How many of you are now proficient at Zoom? How many of you live with Zoom? They did such a great job with helping their clients deal with their issues, talk about how they can have a new financial plan, how they can serve them well. So their value proposition is, okay, we want to stay close, help you. They did such a great job. People were spontaneously saying, I've got people that you need to talk to. And that's the power of your team. Okay, I have a marketing event. We're looking at it. We're adjusting quickly. Okay, their business is up 20% now because they've got the teams. They're creating extraordinary client experience. and they're focused on really loving and serving well, and the leaders are humble. So, Henry,
And
step
that's the same thing.
5.
That same thing is happening with a client right here in Atlanta that's doing Zoom meetings for insurance and financial advice. And they're having people show up their Zoom meetings that they did not even invite. But that's okay. They are they're getting better at it and better at it and better at it. And they count the people who come in, and their business is up equally like 20-30%. It's phenomenal. The people whose business they're taking don't even know what's happening to them. So it's because they're doing it differently. So now, step 5 is where you bring all this together. Step 5 is where you bring it all together. You got your teams. That's the first thing. Then you set your objectives so that you can have something to measure, that you're getting the results. Then you do the analysis of the source so you can figure out where to change, what to tweak, what to eliminate, what to keep. And then with your teams do that, from the design to the implementation, you're doing steps 1 through 4. That's when you pull them together and do that. And you must track your results. If you track your results, how many events did we have? What was the yield from those events? What's the revenue from that? You will get improvement and improvement and improvement. And this is how you do it. And if you got any questions, you can always call us and we can help you implement it differently or give you some feedback on what we see you're doing that you could do better.
Well, Henry, here's the thing that I find over and over again. I go to a webinar, I get some cool ideas, but it's like, how do I implement? Our clarity call is basically setting up, here's 20 minutes where we can talk to you. We're not going to sell you anything. Our job is to help you create clarity. Like, how could you take these 5 steps and apply it to your people? Now, some of you have invited some of your best clients and professional associates, and we want to get you and them together on how do y'all become centers of influence. That's where my book, Social Champions, could be helpful, but our wish is to help you get clarity and support you on how you're going to take your next steps. Henry, can you share with them, okay, one of our success stories with that we talked about this morning? So, okay, we look at the 5 steps. Let's discuss real quickly a case that they could learn from. Your thoughts, short and sweet. What do you think?
I think we're talking about Cook here in Atlanta.
Yep.
With Cook, they had 3 different locations, kind of the different market niches, and they had to get all of their virtual teams together, and we did that. They weren't, when we started, weren't virtual, but they still got their teams together, and they identified the changes that they need to make, that some of them were unique to each location, some of them unique to each service area, but they come together and they can make those decisions and say, okay, everybody has to do, these only have to be done in one city or another. And then they deployed their support teams and they brought in professional people who they had been working with as centers of influence and let them be on the council. We called it a quality council. And the executive committee had 2 people who weren't even part of Cook's organization, but he trusted, and those people who helped him do the governance of his process. And in the process, he drew a stronger relationship with those executives in their businesses. And that was something that worked. And it took them not that long to get started. Over a year and a half, they were really, really growing their business.
So let me give them a practical idea. Okay, if you're hearing these 5 steps, I want you to write down 2 things real quick. Who's your core support team? People maybe that you're paying, but people that it could be some of your best clients that could help you grow and give you feedback so you can figure out their needs and their wants. So who's your core support team? Okay. I want you to write down some names. Who would that be that could help you grow your business, and you're going to make that a win-win? So it's people that you're paying, but this can be a virtual team, okay? It could be you've got a client in San Francisco. Okay, think about this, Nick. Okay, it could be clients that you've got in the south part of Virginia. It doesn't have to be right there. Second thing, if you're looking at growing your professional power team, give me the name of a couple of people that you know and like and trust that you'd like to help grow their business. But you're going to share ideas with them and referrals and create support and accountability. Okay? Who are people that you'd like to do that with? Okay? Now, Jimmy, think of who are people that you know and like and trust that you want to invite. Let's help each other.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a natural to get your teams working on this. Okay, so this is a bonus opportunity. Okay, we have a new course. Well, it's new in January. We've done it before, but how do you build your business master blueprint? Okay, and what we have is, okay, it's over 2 days. It's 3 hours on the 20th of January and 3 hours on the 21st as we're walking through each of the modules. Business and customer outcomes. Okay, we're going to give you detail. We gave you a taste today, and I want you to be playing with this and writing stuff down on how you can take next steps, but we're going to teach you in depth. Module 2, your value proposition, give you the questions with that. Module 3, how do you design your systems to deliver that value proposition? Then it's into your business action plan, which you'll remember that's teams. And then, okay, how do we implement that? Henry, real quickly, well, why would I want to do that course? What do they get out of it? Just short and sweet. What do you think?
Well, it's a learn by doing each of the 5 steps. Okay? So it's two half-day sessions. You bring your questions and your problems to class. And when we put up the templates, and it's an interactive class so that you are seeing the steps, answering each step with your actual work and problems, and then you get answers from us as instructors, but also from the peers. So other people see what it is that you're struggling with, and the odds that nobody, for example, there's 22 people on the call today. I don't believe there's any problem that any of you have that somebody on this call has not already addressed. So the idea of these classes is that you get the benefit of bringing your actual challenges to the class. And because it's an interactive course, you get to ask your questions, get the answers, and then you can download the answers that you got from us and from the other participants as a PDF to your device, anytime on demand. So when you leave the class, you will have a prototype business master blueprint, not something you'll get later on. You will have the blueprint in your grubby little hands by the end of the session. And then if you brought a couple of your power team or your core team to the class with you, you would get the benefit of their interactions as well. So the idea is that you're going to leave that class with the first draft of your business master blueprint.
So as we're doing that, it's 3 hours on the 20th, 3 hours during the day on the 21st. The fee is $249. I think that's a high value. I want you to be able to take this and run with it. I want to do a shout out to the Epiphany Business Consulting. They do our marketing. They're really excellent. They've helped us design this. They do our social media marketing, but they help us look at our messaging. Rick Meekins does that. His attitude I really like. Okay, we can always get it done. We'll get it done. A shout out to him and his team. Laura, thank you so much for your help. Hazel, thank you for your help. And Fabiana did the slides with that as we built this out. So looking at next steps. Okay, so what exactly are we going to do? Okay, so I don't know about y'all, but we get to the end and I'm like, okay, I've heard some cool ideas. I've taken some notes. How do I get started on this? Henry, can you walk them through this real quickly? What would I do? What do I do next?
Well, Tom has been asking you to identify your virtual team members. You really should be doing that. By the time we get to this point in the webinar, you should have 8 or 9 real names scribbled down. These are the people who you know you need, right? You don't have to have us to do that. You know who they are. You know you need them. Then you have to set your expected outcomes. Not just you're going to do 2021, of course you are, but you need to have those outcomes realistically set month by month by month. You don't need us to do that. And then you can look at those outcomes and say, can I really do this for my customers? Can I really make this much revenue? Do I know how that's going to happen in 2021? So you can do that. You can also do your own SOAR analysis. You can ask your team, what do we need to change? What's our real strengths? What are the things that we aspire to be when we grow up? What do you want to get out of 2021? What are those results? What do they look like? You don't need us for that. You can do that. Then you can build, based on just this outline that we've given you, your own master blueprint. Now, we'd love to have you in our class. Don't get me wrong, but you can do this. You can do this yourself. And if you get into it and have a question, you can call us. As Tom said, we're offering that. We want to be of service. So your next steps for 2021 are really easy. And you could throw rocket fuel on that by getting in a class, but without the class, you can still do these things.
So Henry, let me go to, I've got some value added things for them, okay? This is a short form of our webinar evaluation and survey, okay? Well, we're going to send this to you electronically. You should be getting it shortly after the webinar, but I want to give you some bonuses, okay? This is free, okay? Now I'm Italian. Italians don't do anything for free, but it's Thanksgiving, so, okay. One, you may want a copy of my book, Social Champions. We'll send that to you, ebook. There's a business readiness quiz, okay? This is the business readiness quiz, which you can talk to your people about and evaluate yourself and look at key ideas, what you need to do. How clear is your business mastery blueprint? So this is a great thing for you to fill out and say, well, where am I, as we summarize what we're doing. Take it to your team, but take it, okay, so picture, Jackie, you could take this to your team or the people that are your best clients or professionals and say, hey, where are we? Where are you? Let's do this together, okay? The other thing that we're looking at is with this survey evaluation tool, okay, the SOAR analysis questionnaire, we'll send that to you, our gift to you, and the Business Mastery Blueprint course, which we have changed from December 9 to January 20 and 21. Okay, now here's my favorite, free coaching, clarity call. Look, I want to talk to Tom and Henry. Okay, I see this, but what do we want to do? But you've got to fill this out, do the survey, and it take you 5 minutes and you'll get it soon. But we want to know, who are you, your email, okay? And we're going to be able to follow up with you. Okay, so quick summary. Well, before we summarize, okay, I want to do a quick summary and then I want to take some Q&A as we've been doing this, and we're at 42 minutes so far. So this gives you the whole model in a visual. Laura is saying, okay, let's do some Q&A. Can you help me with how we would be doing that? We're open to your questions. So if you've got questions, Laura, open it up so that they can ask questions.
Of course. If you have any question, please, you can write it down through the chat section. I will be reading the questions out loud for you, Tom and Henry, to respond them.
Okay. Laura, I also have some frequently asked questions that we can address with that. But Rick, you may have some questions. Brent, you may have some questions. Ron, you may have some questions. So, Ben, questions you've got, we want to interact with you and help you.
Okay, give me a second. I'm going to check the chat. We have no questions for right now, but I think we could.
Here's a frequently asked question. Let me throw up. Okay, I see what you're doing. How do I get, okay, Henry. Okay, so we see the steps. How do we get started? How do we get started?
And that really is starts with the honest self-assessment. Look and see, are you ready? Those first 3 questions that we had when we started the webinar, are you really ready? Are you ready to do what you always did, the same way you always did it? And is that going to work? So that's how, so you ask, you know, all improvement begins with an honest self-assessment. And then should they want to get started, the clarity call is a very good way to get started. Bring us your challenge, the thing that makes you uncomfortable about 2021, just whatever it is, just give us a call.
So let me summarize, okay? Okay, I can have a business mastery blueprint for 2021. First step is to have the courage to say, am I ready?
Mm-hmm.
Am I relevant? Am I effective? And the courage and the humility to say, okay, we're good, but I want to seize this opportunity. I truly want to serve my clients. So I'm going to look at setting my customer and business outcomes. What do my customers need and want? What do we want? That gives us focus. I do that with my team. Okay. I now want to clarify my value proposition. Okay. What am I going to do where people say, wow, that is really cool. You've really thought that through.
And Tom, the fact of the matter is COVID has not tamped down demand for goods and services.
Mm-hmm.
People are not spending the money they used to at restaurants maybe, but business is still moving forward. The world still needs what it is that you offer. They just may not be consuming it the way that you used to deliver it. And that's the opportunity. This is a great, whenever there's the water is broken up, the lake is going to freeze back over and it's going to lock back in place. But right now, everything is broken up and loose. COVID has broken up the ice on top of the water, but it's going to freeze back over. And when it freezes back over, you're going to be locked into a good place or locked into a not so good place. And so when businesses want to take advantage of this time of turmoil, that's when you grow. That's when you lock in yourself in a new position. So don't think that it's not opportunity there. It's still there. It never went anywhere. But when the lake freezes over again, or whatever analogy you want to use, when it settles back down, are you going to be locked in to a good place?
Absolutely.
Or are you going to be locked into a place of disadvantage? And
okay.
it's
so Henry, excuse me for interrupting. So I have to think about what are my clients' needs, what's my value proposition, and I want to get them involved in teams and do some survey. Okay. Then I want to design the systems to deliver that, and I want my best clients to tell me, hey, we're thinking of doing this. Would that really work? Next, I'm looking at my business action plan. Okay, that's really, we're looking at, okay, how do we run with these systems? How do our teams build the systems? And you can have your teams with you, clients, stakeholders, building that out so that you can deliver it effectively. And we're looking at implementation, which means I now have a macro team that's going to be running this, and the teams are working, and every month we have a meeting to say, how are we doing, measuring, okay? This is a business that's effective with systems, with teams, and a new kind of leader. I want you to look at, are you a soaring leader that comes with vision and mission, looks at numbers, and your heart is to really love and serve and make a difference, okay? Are you clear about the blueprint about where you want to go for 2021? Have you looked at what's our value proposition? Is your teams aligned to make this happen? Do you have a clear team that is focused, passionate, and you're leading as you're working as a team? With that, I want to wind down. I want to look at let us know how we can be of service to you. It's been a pleasure to be with you, and a shout out to some friends. Okay, I really appreciate your attending, Beth. Okay, shout out. Yeah.
Tom, sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
If you don't want to ask the question through chat, you could also click on the mic icon to unmute yourself. Not you, Tom, for our attendees. There's an option to unmute yourself in case you have any question. Just clicking on the mic icon at the below part of the.
Laura, I want to wind it out. Okay, they're busy. I want to wind it out. We're in a good place to stop. I really appreciate your support, Laura. Henry, thank you so much. I want to say thank you, and I want you to let us know how we can be of service to you. Please fill out the survey that you're going to get by email, and I want you to have a great day. So thank you very much. We'll hit the recording and we'll stop if you'll do that. Laura, I want you guys to have a phenomenal day.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Henry.